Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Odin here on this fine Sunday evening. I almost said driving and singing because I got into that mode. I've been putting up more driving and singing videos. Go check them out. They're fun. Yeah, I like them anyway. They're really, really easy content. I'm just driving anyway, and I'm singing anyways. So might as well put a camera on myself and record it and see if it's good enough to upload. At least good enough in my mind. Feeling good. Feeling really good because just got done watching my Denver Broncos. They're mine. Win their fourth straight game after starting the season 1-5 to get themselves up to 500 on the season, which is a pretty big accomplishment because I had serious doubts. I was just like, this team fucking blows. Fuck these guys. And they've been playing inspired football the last 3 weeks against three really good teams. This is once they beat the Chiefs, which we haven't done in like 4 years or however long. The best team in the NFL pretty much. Once we beat them, then we're like, oh, we can hang, we can play, and then beat the Bills, another solid team, and then just beat the Vikings, who are they'd won like 5 straight, 6 straight, something like that. So yeah, and none of them pretty wins, but we keep getting lots of turnovers. It's great. I love it. So somebody could give a shit about sports ball and football, but I love football and I love the Broncos. But it's been rough, lean years for a long time, and so just getting to 500 and some respectability makes me feel good. That's what we got right now, but against good opponents. So it's not like we just ran through like the league's three worst teams, So I'm riding high from that. The game just got over. Kind of went down to the wire. Great, fun game. So also riding high because, as I mentioned in my last video, this is the last. The last video is the penultimate, as they say. This one is the last video that I will be doing in this apartment. This is it. Tomorrow morning, I'm closing on the house, signing all the fucking papers, all the rigmarole, putting down a lot of money, all this kind of stuff. Tonight, though, earlier this evening, I went and did a final walkthrough. Actually met the previous owner, really, really nice older lady who's lived there and just kind of really took care of the place really well. And she's moving to Texas to be close to her brother. The house never went on the market. She bought the house from my real estate agent. And so when she said, hey, I'm looking to move, she never listed it. She just told the real estate agent, who said, hey, Odin, you're looking for something. This might be the one you're looking for. And sure enough, that was the one I fell in love with. So that's where I'm going to be parking my ass for a while. It's a small place, less than 1,000 square feet, but it's on 2.5 acres. It's got its own little forest. It's weird because every other property around there has cleared their area, and then you can see, like, if you look on Google Maps, it's just like a square or rectangle of just forest with a house, and it's like that's basically the property line. So it's really cool. Got to do that final walkthrough, and she'd moved 90% of her stuff out, so I had to kind of like get a little more visualizing with how I'm going to lay it out and what it's going to look like with my stuff instead of her stuff. Because when I first look at the house, she's still living there. There's all her stuff. So that's really cool. I'm really excited. It's a big moment. A little bit nervous because this place was furnished, and it's like you already, I didn't want to get settled here, but I've been here almost 2 months now, and has it been that long? Almost, yeah. So I got here August 28th, So yeah, almost 2 months in this apartment. Seems longer than that. Seems like I've been here for freaking ever, uh, in some respects. So anyway, yeah, I'm really stoked about that. So um, let's see, news around the globe or around my world, I guess. Still working on shove pages all the time, but recently have some other another thing which we'll announce eventually, but another drawing book that's gonna take my attention away, and you may be able to put two and two together, but we'll announce it eventually. But in the meantime, still working on shove pages, so I'll show this one. I'm kind of proud of it. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of like zombie decaying flesh, which is fun to draw. Um, Another page in the story that I've been working on. Here, show that. So that one's all wrapped up, and on to the next. But that's one reason I'm really excited too. I get my frickin' drafting table back. I can actually draw the way I like to draw, the way it feels natural, not on the clipboard, even though that's really convenient and there's a time and place for it. But man, I just want my desk back, and I just want to set up the place where I'm moving and get everything the way I want it, and really settle in and just make that a home of sorts. You know, not, I don't know, home's like an abstract idea, but something like that. I've kind of jokingly talked about it. I've never really felt at home throughout my life, you know. As a kid, we moved all the time. As I was doing the math, like, here I am, 44 years old, and I was doing the math. I've lived over 50 places in my life at one time or another. I've called a different place home. Not really home. Again, it's a concept more than anything, but I've lived in 50 different domiciles throughout my time. Some for longer than others, obviously, some for very, very short. And it's just crazy to think. And I'm like, well, I'm buying this one, you know, I imagine I'll be here for quite a while, you know, who knows how long, but it's a crazy concept, and be like, because after I got divorced, I only lived in rentals. And even though you settle in all this kind of stuff and you acquire things and you make it yours, it's never fully yours, and you don't fully take it on like that. It's still a rental. It's still somebody else's property. And so I don't know, it's somewhat intimidating in like a good way. Like, I'm anxious, but in a good kind of way, to have that finally. Because I had it once, but that was when I was married, and then, you know, it was a house that I built. So that even had a little more attachment for me. But that was the only other time where it was like, this is yours, you know. So yeah, excited for that. I didn't show this one off. I wanted to, and I forgot last video. But I got another one of the submissions from the Kill Them Dead Art Contest. The Kill Them Dead Art Contest. I've got two original pieces of art. One I paid for on an auction. The other one was just this person who submitted it was just so awesome, as they just wanted to send me the original, and I went, "You're more than welcome to." And they're both fucking kick-ass. Every submission was kick-ass, and I would have taken all of the original arts. Anybody who was in the contest who wants to send me original art, feel free. But this one from his internet handle, Tokame, which is his LLC. But I learned his name is Seth. So Seth made this kick-ass piece of hell with with the runes and kill them dead, and the use of gold and blue. I loved it. And it's just like a lot of original art where the showing it on camera or something never does it the same amount of justice as seeing it in person. But apparently, this is one where if it spun, the letters would have some kind of effect. Unfortunately, we'll never get to see that effect. He didn't win. Shame he didn't. I mean, there were so many good ones. Not everybody could win, but this will be a piece that'll be proudly hung up, in my office area, as well as death metal hero Luke's, the Anubis piece. And these are just very, I don't know, they're very special to me because the fact that somebody took that much time for a project that you're working on. Luke's this one will be turned into an album or a picture disc, not an album. So that one will actually be on a record and will spin. Anubis will spin. But I would love to have seen this one. But there were so many good submissions, and thankfully I was not a judge. The joke was James and I deflected the judging onto some friends that became the panel of judges that we trusted. They knew the project, they knew us, they knew what we expected, and also good art critics. So we deflected the judging onto them, which was great, because I don't know if I could pick. It would have been really hard. But we still had to give the results, so we still had to tell everyone whether they won or not. Everybody who submitted, we're going to try to find a way to get those submissions into print, into some part of the project, because they were all so awesome. So yeah. Excuse me. And choke on my own spit. So that's kind of what's going on. Like I said, Monday, tomorrow, that's going to be a big day. And that's like early in the morning. And then right after I'm done signing that stuff, it's just going to be like, go. Like I have the day off tomorrow. I have to work Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I have Thanksgiving off. So tomorrow after I'm done signing stuff, I'm debating on whether I empty the storage unit of my stuff and move that into the place, or do I get furniture first and get that moved into the place? Or if I'm really ambitious, I might be able to get both done tomorrow. I don't know if I will. I also have Thanksgiving Day off, and I don't have any plans for Thanksgiving Day, so I can get a lot done then. But I don't think the furniture store will be open and things like that. And then I have to have it delivered, so I got to see when they can do the delivery, and I got to be there for that, I think. So yeah, there's still shit I got to figure out, and then get everything out of here, which I don't have a whole lot in here, but like all my clothes and shit. But I'll be sleeping here for sure until I get a bed into that place. But I got till the end of the month here, so it'll all work out. But just trying to figure out what's the smart move here. Also, we had another successful Saturday night leaped, hanging out with the crew of guys that join us. Maybe someday a female will join us as well. I don't recommend that they should, even though we would all like that, just to balance out the energy. But we had James and myself, of course. We had Ryan Miller and Chris Fisk. And they've been on regularly. And then we had Mr. Good Stuff, who he's been on before, but this was he hadn't been regular, but it's good to have him hang out. And then we had James's friend Jesse Hannum, who is a stand-up comedian and a friend of Broken Compass Entertainment. He's done some art and some things for us too. Cool guy, and it's a lot of fun hanging out with him. He's funny. And we just went all stupid all night, and but talking about conspiracies and all this kind of stuff. So we're like talking about real potentially serious things going on in the world, and making very, very much light of them, which is a coping mechanism for when you're like, yeah, that could actually be real, but let's make a joke out of it because that's the best thing to do when you don't know what else to do. But if you watch that replay, just know everything is in jest. It's just for fun, just played for laughs. We're ultra offensive and poke fun at everything with a viciousness, and it's for fun. So don't get offended. None of it's, I mean, we got more Jewish jokes than you could shake a stick at, and then two of us on there are, have Jewish blood in us, and it's like, it's all in good fun, it's just all in good fun. Let's just make fun of everybody and everything. Like the old days when people didn't worry about that kind of stuff. Because the reality is there are very serious things in the world, and they do need to be taken seriously. But when we're just sitting around taking the piss, that's when you can kind of take the edge off of those things that are troublesome, that are real issues, and just bring them down to a human level. And you do that by just making jokes about it. And so at the end of the day, it's just for fun. I just have a disclaimer there because, it can be extremely offensive to those who are offended. To those who don't get offended, it's just funny. And we had a blast just taking the piss all night long. So there's that. Some cool, exciting news on the Kill Them Dead front that we'll be announcing soon. Good stuff on the show. Announced the book that he's working on for Kill Them Dead, that he's co-writing with James, but he came up with the concept. It was a concept he had, and he brought it to us, and we said, yeah, that's cool. I like it. So we're going to make that, and it's called Paper Machete. And it is a wild horror book. It deals with the Amish. It deals with heavy metal and rock and roll and punk, and it deals with the supernatural. It's all over the place. And they all wear paper mache heads, which is where the paper machete came from. That's like my contribution, was the naming of it, because I think originally it was called like the Paper Mache Militia or something like that, and it was a cool title. And then I don't know why I was like, paper machete sounds cool, and everybody's like, yeah, let's go with that. So I'm like, yeah, there's my contribution. There may be another I may be drawing it, but the drawing workload is constantly getting bigger, and I only have so much time. So I don't know if I'm going to be drawing it. It's not something that has to be done tomorrow, but like I said, I just picked up something else that's a big thing that I'm going to be drawing a lot on. So yeah. And always working on Unconditional Shove as well. So keeping me busy. There's probably other things to announce. Saturday, the December 2nd. So not this coming Saturday, but 2 weeks. I'll be going on Unhinged Int with Jason Bascom for his show. He has a name for his show when he brings guest creators on. But we'll be talking Kill Them Dead. I'm thinking Sebastian may be able to join me on that one. I keep forgetting to hit him up and find out, but we got a little bit of time. So that'd be cool. Always enjoy hanging out with Jason. Cool guy. with a cool book called Frog G and another cool book called Absolute, and really cool artist with a very unique style that I dig, and also just enjoy hanging out with him. So we'll do that. Yeah, not a whole lot else to talk about. I'm really steeped in this house buying venture, and that's going to take up a lot of my time. But and then we got Thanksgiving coming up. Um, it's Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, and it doesn't have the pomp and circumstance that Christmas does. And Halloween is like a lot of fun and kind of dominates a little bit of the fall motif as far as holidays. But Thanksgiving, I mean, it's one of those things like, if you're a couple and they go, do you celebrate Valentine's Day? And you're like, well, we love each other. We celebrate our love year round. And Thanksgiving is one of those things. Like, we celebrate that year round. You should always have gratitude in Thanksgiving. But what it means to just kind of like take a moment of reflection, and it's definitely one of the most family oriented. Like, Christmas is very family oriented as well, but I always love Thanksgiving because I think if you view it correctly, if you go into it taking that time, taking that pause to think about what you're thankful for, and in almost any place in life, there's plenty to be thankful for. And an attitude of gratitude, as the saying is, attitude of gratitude, because it rhymes. That's why it became a saying. But an attitude of gratitude serves everyone well. It changes perspective. And people who don't have it need to develop it. I mean, I've tried to instill that in my kids, and they're really good about, when somebody gives you something, you say thank you. Or if somebody does anything for you, you say thank you. It's like, so you have a waiter or a waitress, and it's just like constantly like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because they're waiting on you. But, someone opens the door, someone does anything, always show that. I mean, that's the most simple thing you can do, is just say thank you. But the little things you can do, and you're more likely to do them if you have your own gratitude. And that's to contribute to the well-being and happiness of the people around you. Lighten the load of the people around you and make their life a little easier and a little better. But I don't think you get to that point unless you have an appreciation for the people who've done it for you, or the people who've been in your life and been those things. And I've certainly had a slew of people be, just throughout my life, be angels in a moment, just what I needed in that moment to really get me through, whether it's help working on a car or working on your house or moving, or the simple thing of just giving someone a call when they're going through a rough time, and just being like, hey, thought about you. I knew your things were kind of rough. Sometimes if people are grieving something really hard, there's not really anything to say. And so oftentimes that deters us from like reaching out. But it's not about saying anything. It's about showing you care is more important, because you can't do anything. You can't change. You can't expedite their grief to happiness. They have to go through that process. So, but just being there is a huge thing. Now, he's not my friend anymore. It just kind of soured everything. But I remember I had a friend who, when I went through my divorce, he called me almost every day because he knew it hit me really hard, and he's like, how you doing? And I was a dick because I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I really didn't. I just wanted to sulk, I guess. But like, I didn't really feel like talking to anybody. But on the same hand, like kind of as the dust cleared a little bit, I was very appreciative that he went out of his way to every day just check on me, I guess, or just remind me that he cares, remind me that people care, you know. You know, the thing that's grieving me right now, I can't get away from, but the bigger picture is there's lots of people in your life that care about you and they're there. So if you can be that for someone else, for sure do it. And I don't know. That's, to me, Thanksgiving is that you're reminded of all that you can be thankful for, and once you do that, that instills and inspires you to be that for someone else. All the people in your life that you can be thankful for. If you sit down and reflect on it, then you get inspired to, in turn, be that for someone else in their life. And you don't do it for the accolades or to win the karma war. You do it because you love people, and oftentimes just because it's right. You know, my kids would help their grandparents for money sometimes, and quite often it bothered me that their grandparents were offering them money, because I'm like, they should just be helping you guys out anyway. Like, they don't need money to go help grandma and grandpa. But nonetheless, it was a nice gesture because that incentivizes it. But there's oftentimes that thing, like if you see someone struggling, you just help them. You don't think about it. You just do it. And I remember one time, and this isn't like to toot my own horn, it's just like, I remember like instinctual moments. So we're driving, I was helping a friend move. So I was already helping one person. I was helping my friend move using my vehicle, and it was in the middle of winter and icy, snowy roads everywhere. And I drive by this one area. I had an expedition at the time. It was full of shit that we were moving. And I see this guy just stuck in a snowbank, just destroying his transmission. I mean, and the smell. I mean, he was just trying everything, but he was just creating ice in the snow. It was like, he wasn't going anywhere. I'm like, dude, you're just killing your car doing that. Don't keep trying that. I'm like, let me help rock it out, and we were able to get it pushed out. But like, it was one of those things. You have to stop, pull over the side, do all this stuff. It's cold. You don't really want to. And the guy wasn't the most friendly because he was pissed off about his car. But like, I hope long term he went, dude, that guy didn't have to stop, and he stopped and helped me. And I don't know how many times I've seen somebody like their car stalled in the middle of the road and they're causing traffic. It's like, well, just stop and help them push the car to a parking lot or somewhere where it's out of the way. At least get them to where they're not holding up traffic, and but they can't do it by themselves oftentimes. So help them out, to give them a push. There's little things like that. If you see it, why not? Why not be that for someone? So for me, one of the greatest that ever happened to me, and forever, I'll be thankful to this fella. So when I first moved to Spokane with my kid's mom, at the time we were married, shortly after we got there, we separated because I was having a hard time finding a job, and she was upset about something, and we just separated. And I didn't know anybody out there, all I knew was her family. She had a sister who lived out there, and that was it. And it was like the perfect storm of everything going wrong for me at that time. Like I said, I didn't know anybody. My vehicles kept breaking down. And then I bought this truck, and it was such a gas hog. And then the job I got was like, 30 miles away from where I lived. It was all these like perfect storm things. But getting to that job, I kept running out of gas, and I didn't have money because I hadn't made any money yet. And I remember I knew I didn't have enough gas to get to work, but I had to try. So at least, like, make an effort. I'm like, I know there's not enough gas in this tank, but I'm going to drive to work anyway and see what happens. Well, anyway, the truck runs out of gas on the interstate, and I pull over to the side, and that was like on my way to work. So it's morning, and that day this is new to Spokane. I didn't know the city at all. I'm just sitting in that truck going like, what the fuck do I do? And so I just started walking. For one, I was going to walk to a phone and call my work and say, here's what happened. Well, that had already happened one other time, and they sent someone else to get me so that I could get to work. But this time they were like, yeah, no, we gotta let you go. And I was like, fuck. So there I was with a beat up old truck that was out of gas on the interstate, kind of roaming around Spokane that I didn't know the city, with no money. It was in the morning it wasn't so bad, but the heat of the day got to be over 100. It was a hot day. And I was just kind of like wandering around town, like looking for work, but also just kind of like, I lived like 2 towns over at the time. So I was like, how the hell am I getting back to my apartment? There was just so much shit going on. So anyway, after meandering around town and just being frustrated and beating my head against a proverbial brick wall, I started walking towards my apartment, which, like I said, was like 30 miles away. And I get about 10 miles from the apartment. And like I said, it was 100 plus degrees. I was just dying, and it was exhausting, and I was frustrated and confused, and just kind of like the lowest I could possibly feel. And I'm just wandering, like, get back to the apartment. I mean, I was dirty, sweaty, tired, everything. And so I've been walking all day. Finally, after walking that far, a car pulls up, and this young man says, hey, you need a ride? And he's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to Cheney, where I was living. And he's like, oh, I'm going there too, man. Jump in. I was like, oh, thank God. And I get in the car, and I'm very thankful, thank you for picking me up. He's like, yeah, you look like you were too tired to even stick your thumb out. And I was like, pretty much. Plus, I've never hitched. I don't know. There's something weird about that. But I was like, I'd rather walk. But as I sat there in his car, he had a single beer. It wasn't Modelo. It was Budweiser, which I hate Budweiser. It's my least favorite beer. He had a single can of Budweiser in his console. And he goes, you like beer? I was like, yeah, sure. He goes, it was such a hot day. He's like, I never drink beer, but it was such a hot day. And I thought, I was at the gas station. I'm like, a beer sounds like a good choice. So he bought like a single, which I didn't even know you could buy that like in a normal size can. Like I know you can buy single talls and shit like that, and like big old oil cans and stuff. He just had a single 12-ounce can of Budweiser. And he goes, you want this? And I was like, yeah, if you don't mind. He's like, yeah. And I'm telling you, that was the best beer I've ever had in my life. I hate Budweiser. It's my least favorite beer of all time. Best tasting beer I ever had in my life. But that guy was a savior in that moment. I had another 10 miles to walk. I would have made it. I wouldn't, it's just what it is. But the fact that he showed up, the fact that he bought a beer, like a single beer, and the fact that he gave it to me. And then he was like, hey, we should hang out sometime. I didn't end up hanging out with him, but he was just a college student because it was a college town I was living in. But you never know. Like, that's the thing. Like, he just stopped and gave me a ride, talked a little bit, and he didn't know if I was crazy or what, but, and I mean, I probably didn't smell too good. I was sweaty and walking around all day. But I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that he was an angel in that moment. And, so just do those things for people. Be that for somebody else. And so I always try to do that when I can. I mean, there's missed opportunities. I talk about stopping and helping, and there's plenty of times where I'm like, I'm late for work and I can't stop, But people who know me, I mean, I used to pick up hitchhikers all the time. And, being a bigger man, it's, not that daunting to pick up a hitchhiker. But there's been a few times where I couldn't get the person out of my car fast enough. They were scaring the shit out of me or something, or just rubbing me the wrong way. But I gave him a ride. It's like, yeah, I'll give you a ride down the road. Like, why not? And because again, like, there's been times where I needed that. So anyway, no, I'm rambling about, but that's Thanksgiving. It's being thankful for that. Obviously, a time for family. That's the hard part for me because being out here, my kids will do something with their mom on Thanksgiving. I'm going to be working, moving, but I'll get them on the weekend, I believe. Hopefully, I'm settled enough and I have beds for them there. But by then, and we'll celebrate our own Thanksgiving on the weekend. But it is a time for family, and I mean, some of the best memories are Thanksgiving family memories, just getting together, whether it's a big crowd family or just me and my girls. I like setting that time aside, and that's really what it's about. It's just setting the rest of the world aside to just focus on family and things you're thankful for, and that's why I think it's such a great holiday. That and football all day long, which is always cool. So anyway, I don't know, just been rambling about Thanksgiving, but I hope yours is awesome. Mine's going to be pretty interesting because I'm going to be in an empty house trying to like get it all set up, but nonetheless, Thanksgiving is a great holiday. Hope you enjoy it with your families. Eat tons of food if you can, and just set aside some time throughout the day on Thursday to call to mind all those things you're thankful for. And the thing is, if you can't call anything to mind, you're not trying hard enough. There's plenty there. So do that. Set some time to just ponder and reflect on the things you could be thankful for. And if you can, also enjoy the time with your family. If you can't, just know that you're not alone, because I'll be alone, literally. But you're not alone in that you can't be around your family on Thanksgiving. And just know that's not the end of the world. Hopefully you'll be able to some other time. So anyway, take care, everyone. Have an awesome, kick-ass Thanksgiving. Enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.